Hello everyone, and welcome to Lesson 7 example. So this is actually the first of 3 slides that we're going to be talking about, and so the other 2 videos will talk about the other slides. So for slide 2, you are given this problem, and I'm going to let you read it for yourself, or you can also click on the microphone to listen for it for yourself. For right now, I'm going to focus on the important information that I want to draw from this. So important information I notice is that we need to annotate. So I find the number here. Sammy brought 8 more shrimp. So that means there is extra shrimp that Sammy brought compared to Caden. When we combined their total, so combined is a keyword that should be underlined. So you can click on the U up here, underlined, combined their shrimp. They had 32 altogether. So 32 total shrimp. And I'm going to highlight that because that's an amount. Next, I see the keywords of create has already been underlined, a tape diagram to determine how many shrimp each boy brought. So we know that Sammy brought 8 more than Caden, but we don't know how much either of them actually brought. We do know that altogether they brought 32. And so I'm going to create a tape diagram on another slide. So hold on one second. You're going to be putting your image here. So what I put over there, you can put on your piece of paper. All right, so here's our information again. 8 more shrimp for Sammy. We need a tape diagram that's not ratio based because we don't have a ratio. And they have a combined total of 32. Okay, well then that means I should have a tape diagram that starts with Sammy. And you might want to type or write on your paper lesson 7, slide 2. And we're in part A. Okay, so Sammy has got a tape diagram of some sort, and Caden has a tape diagram part as well. But Caden's part has to be shorter than Sammy's. So I'm going to make it like maybe here. I don't know exactly how much more because we don't have any numbers right now inside of the boxes or at the ends. What we do know is that if you cut this off, what's on the left shows what they share in terms of the same number, not like sharing, like combining, but Sammy's number and Caden's number would be at the same up until this point. And then Sammy's number increases by a certain amount for his total, which is more than Caden's total. So we don't know either of the totals, but we do know that Sammy has some extra. Well, we already know how much extra. How many extra shrimp did he bring? Okay, so hopefully you said 8. That means that this right here, this box, this section, is the 8 extra. And so that's the 8 extra. Now, remember, this is not a ratio tape diagram. So putting an 8 here doesn't mean anything at all about what's going on over here. So this is a very different kind of problem so far. We will deal with ratios later, but not for this tape diagram. And then what else do we know? Well, we know that if you were to combine all of their shrimp, so Sammy's total and Caden's total, you combine that together, you would end up with 32. Okay, so Sammy's and Caden's combined make 32, and Sammy has 8 extra. Okay, I want you to pause the video and think of what could we possibly do to solve this problem? How could we figure out what goes in each? Okay. Okay, so now that you've unpaused the video, hopefully you've thought a little bit about some possibilities. Something you might have thought of, well, we have to divide, we have to split it, so there's probably going to be dividing at some point. You might have also thought, well, there's extras and we should get rid of the extras so we can focus on what they share or what they have in common. So those are some ideas you might have thought of, and the way that we go about this is going to matter. We have 32 total, and we need to figure out how much they have that's not the extra. And so the first thing we should do is get rid of the extra. So we're going to take 8 away from 32. So 2 can't take away 8, so then I need to borrow. So the 3 in the tens place becomes a 2, so that's like 20. So that means I have an extra 10 I can add here, so this becomes 12. 12 take away 8 is 4, and 2 take away blank is still 2, so this is 24. That means that these 2 together are 24 combined, but they're the same number in each of these. So we can divide them by the two sections that we see. What's 24 divided by 2? Count by 2s to get to 24. Or what could you multiply 2 by to get 24? Hopefully you got 12. 12 times 2 will give you 24. And so 12 is the number that I'm going to put in each box. 12 here and 12 here. Okay, so now we can figure out what their individual totals are. Well, Caden only has the part that's the same as Sammy's, so he only has 12. Sammy has 12 plus his extra 8, the 8 more that he brought. And so if I add 8 to 2, that's 10, plus another 10 is 20. And if I add those together, I get 32. So that works out, that checks out. So these are the correct numbers. This one is 8 more than this one. And Sammy's and Caden's numbers combined make 32. So this is what you're going to, on your own paper, you should have this, and you're going to take a picture, and you're going to insert it into this spot. Let's make sure that we have everything, though, before you take a picture. Tape diagram with labels, words, and numbers. Great, words, numbers, inside and at the end. All right, we've got that, check. Calculations, division and multiplications. We got a division, that's right here. We did it's not a big number, so we didn't have to do the long division. And then it says multiplications. That's not true. I'm going to change that for you all. The calculations you should have are addition and subtraction. Subtraction to find the 24, and addition to find the 32. So I will change that for you all later on. It shouldn't say that in yours. All right, so let's move on to part B. What is the ratio? So for this part, I should actually go back to the other slide. All right, hold on one second, y'all. Okay, so we've now figured out how many shrimp each of the two boys have. And so now what we're going to do is type in the boxes and do the annotations that would use that information. So first of all, what is the ratio of the number of shrimp that Sammy brought? So that's our first amount, so we should highlight that, to the number of shrimp that Caden brought. And actually, I'm going to change this to yellow because yellow and blue together make green. So whenever I do total, I'll have that as green. All right, so Sammy's number compared to Caden's number. Well, Sammy's number, if you remember from our tape diagram, was the 12 plus 8, so that's 20. I'm going to put 20. And then how do we write ratios? So hopefully you thought of colon or the 2 dots, and then the word 2, and even fractions. So 22, and then Caden's number was just the 12. So 20 to 12, or 20 to 12, or even as a fraction, 20/12, or 20 over 12. Next, we're going to represent the number of shrimp that Sammy brought, so that was the yellow, as a fraction of the number that Caden brought. So now, when we're dealing with fractions, the order matters, and so this is saying that we want Sammy's number to be compared to Caden's number, where Caden would be the whole. If we're thinking about a fraction, fractions mean something out of something else. That out of something is the total that you would have. Sometimes it's possible to actually have more than the total. Like if you got extra credit on a quiz or on a test, you could have over 100%, and that would represent having more than the total amount. So in this case, we're comparing Caden's number as the total, so that's the bottom number, the denominator, and Sammy's number is the top number, because we're comparing it to the total. So it's 20 compared to 12. What kind of fraction is this? Well, to know what kind of fraction, we need to know the different types. So there's whole, there's proper, and there's improper. A proper fraction is what we might think of as like a normal fraction, where you have less than the total amount, like half or 3/4. A whole fraction would be if you have the exact same number, top and bottom, numerator and denominator, because that means that you have all of it, the whole thing. Improper fractions are when you have more than what you would expect to have, meaning you have more on the top than you do on the bottom. And that's the case that we have here. And so this is an improper fraction. All right, next one. what is the ratio of the number of shrimp Sammy brought? Okay, so again, that's the yellow, to the total number of shrimp. Okay, this is not Caden's number, so this is the combined total. So that means I'm going to combine the colors. That is green. Blue and yellow make green. So the number of Sammy to the total number. Well, Sammy's was the 20. So 20 colon. And then the total was all the shrimp. And up in the very top, that was the 32. So I'm actually going to change this to green so I can show that that's a total. So 20 to 32. Okay, and then we can show that in two other ways. So I'm going to let you do that for yourself. So you can show it in all three forms: the colon form, the word to form, and the fraction form. And then we're actually going to use the fraction form one more time because this is what fraction of the total shrimp did Sammy bring. So when it says fraction of the total, that means that the denominator is the total. So in that case, that's 32 on the bottom. And then Sammy brought a certain amount of that, a part of that. So we're going to have a proper fraction this time with Sammy's number on top. Oops. All right. So if you have any questions on that, please check in with me during the lesson, and I will see you on the next video.